Sanibonani. Ninja. Hayi siyaphila nathi. Chairperson. Sawubona futhi. Thank you very much, honorable members, and thank you very much to our esteemed guests, our delegation from the city of eThekwini. Thank you for. I hope that's not my phone. Okay, the chairperson can't have his phone ringing. No, thank you very much for a few things, Honorable Mayor and your colleagues, and that is, firstly, accommodating our request for you to come to Parliament and have this conversation with us. That's the first thing. Secondly, thank you for the detailed information you've sent. You didn't complain that we keep sending information requests. You did your best to accommodate, and I know that there might be a couple of pieces of information we don't have. I don't think it's for unwillingness on your part. You've done as much as you could, I believe. There's lots of information that we have, such that we can have a meaningful conversation. So that is the second thing that I want to thank you for. The third thing that I want to thank you and your delegation for is also for taking the time. eThekwini kukude from Cape Town. I know that for us it might be a meeting today, but for you, the trip started yesterday, and then tomorrow it continues. So it's 3 days that you will have taken. So we don't take that time for granted at all. We appreciate that you have you've made the effort. But before I make any further remarks, I'm going to give you an opportunity, Honorable Mayor, just to make some remarks, introduce your team, and then I will just set out how our proceedings are going to go on. Thank you so much. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, and greetings to yourself, Chair of SCOPA, the Chair of COCTA, Dr. Zuleni Mkhize, all honorable members, the Office of the AG behind me, colleagues. It gives me pleasure to thank you for welcoming us this morning. Indeed, we tried to comply with all the deadlines. There were times where we had to ask for an hour or 2 or 3 extension, and the office was really willing to accommodate our request. The report we'll present is in 3 parts, but consolidated into one, but still deal with the questions as we have sequenced them. But you will guide us as to what in that information you want us to present this morning. Let me start with the introductions. We'll start with the City Manager, Mr. Musampele, and I would request the City Manager to then introduce the team. City Manager.
Thank you very much, Your Worship, Councillor Klaba. Greetings to the Chairperson of SCOPA, the Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on COCTA, the honorable members of both committees who are here, Auditor General colleagues behind me, the executives from the city. I will start, a special greeting to the Chairperson of MPEC, Councillor Kluma, who is with us. On my left-hand side, I've got Dr. Sandile Mnguni, who's the Chief Financial Officer. I've got Lindo Mkhize, who's the Executive Director, Operations Management in the city. I've got Ethnic Msweli, who's the Executive Director for Technical Services. I've got Mr. Reginald Sihle Mkhize, who is the Acting Executive Director for Corporate Services. I've got Dr. Mapule Khatebe. So, a colleague, can I humble request that when I call your name, you raise your hand for easy identification. Don't raise it Esihle, you are not doctor yet. Dr. Mapule Khatebe, who is our chief audit executive. And then on her left-hand side, I've got Pato, Mr. Lawrence Pato, who is the director for human settlements. And then at the back, I've got the head of legal services, Mr. Malusi Mhlongo, in the blue jacket. I've got the director of Metropolis, Metropolis chief, Mr. Sibonelo Mchunu. I've got the mayoral advisor, Mr. Chokcho. And then I've got Mlulegi, who is the mayoral spokesperson, or does the communication for the mayor. That is Mlulegi Mtunga. I thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm not going to waste your time, Chair. We will then wait for you to guide how you want us to deal with the issues, and then we'll take it up from there. Thank you so much.
I will do so, Executive Mayor. I at least I was relieved to hear that there are no Mkizes at the back, because the Mkizes are everywhere. There's a Mkize at the front, there are Mkizes on this. But at least there was a Khatebe there who's a relation of mine. So. Okay, no, thank you so much. So let me guide as follows, and welcome to the members that came after we started. So, and this is both for you and the public, and I suspect that when Scopa calls, it might feel like somebody has said some things about you. Just a bit of context. This is not our only interaction between now and the end of the 7th Parliament. We are going to have a few. You may have seen that between ourselves and the Portfolio Committee on COCTA, we've seen several municipalities and metros already. From the perspective of the this committee, the Standing Committee on Public Accounts, even though we're sitting together, we took a decision to focus on some key institutions that are important for economic growth as well as service delivery to people. Metros are very important economic hubs. You will also notice that we're looking at the transport ecosystem, your Transnet, your PRASA, etc., etc. There will be other institutions like that. So this is our, at least from the perspective of the Standing Committee on Public Accounts, our first interaction with other metros such as BCM or Tambo District Municipality. We've already even been on oversight. So you are not being targeted in that way. We are going to have a relationship all the way through to 2029. And hopefully working together, we will begin to see some good outcomes that we are able to work on together through this accountability process. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that the meeting here today is that the Auditor General gave us a briefing about the city of eThekwini's audit outcome. So it's always important to start there, because that's at the core of why we got here. Obviously, there are many issues that arise out of these and related issues. Some go to the Portfolio Committee on COCTA, others come here. So you will note that members of the Portfolio Committee on COCTA are also here. So our conversation will not be limited only to the audit outcomes on financial issues. And you might have picked up from the questions that they cut across. My guidance is as follows. I saw your presentation. I think it's about 86 slides. Thank you very much for that. The members have got the same. I think to kickstart our conversation, let's deal with the part of it that focuses on the audit outcomes that we've had. You can continue to have it up. As the members interact with you, you can then go to the relevant slide, because the matters will be relating mostly to the issues that we've raised with you. At least then you've got the benefit of just going to that slide and showing it, and then giving an explanation if you have to do that. I would encourage you, though, that I find that the most efficient is just skulumenj. Just provide an explanation with context, and we keep it moving in that way. If we have to show a slide, then let's show a slide. But at least Wonke umuntu has got the slides. What also helps is to say, because the members have got, just refer them to the slide number, even if you don't show it. When you answer, say just go to slide 75. What I'm talking about is there. And then you just give a brief explanation. If the member has a follow-up question, they can ask it, if that's the case. So can I then thank you once again for the introduction, MM and Executive Mayor, and say we go then, I think it's slide 29 for this phase. And then we will take a short break, and then we come back and we have a conversation with you. We will break, I think, at 1 or 1:30. The Secretariat will guide me, because we've got plenaries in the afternoon, and then we will continue later on, and then hopefully we'll leave before 3 a.m. Don't worry, we'll finish today still. So thank you very much. Over to you. So we're going, I think, until up to slide 29, and then we'll take a break and then have a conversation.
Yes, thank you very much, Chair. Thanks for this guidance. We really welcome this exercise. It's part of our strengthening, oversight over the administration. I wish to refer to the letter I signed on the 20th of January 2026, addressed to the Office of the Auditor General. In that letter, I made a few commitments that I believe I still live by. The first commitment is to strengthen oversight and accountability. I detailed what I mean by that. The second part is to ensure improvements to ICT operations and governance. And in the report, we'll refer to exactly what we are doing in that respect. And the third part is to improve infrastructure management. Again, that will also be visible in the report that we'll present. And the fourth part is monitoring and addressing a slow progress in addressing audit queries, particularly on matters relating to compliance, performance reporting, and infrastructure management. So we are on top of that. We'll also explain exactly what we do. We have elevated audit, the monitoring on the implementation of the audit action plans. That now committees assist with that cluster committees assist with that responsibility almost on a monthly basis. And thereafter, we receive the quarterly report as ESCO, that which I table at council on a quarterly basis. I wish to invite, Chair, I know the time is limited. I would wish to invite the city manager, and he will break the reports into various components and then attach the names of the people who will be making the presentation. I don't want to disrupt his order. Please allow me to come in here and there if needs be. Over to you, City Manager.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. In keeping with the directive and the mandate of the chairperson, we had split our presentation into two that I was going to focus from page 31 till to the end of the presentation. And then the stuff that deals with audit outcomes, the financial performance, the CFO was going to deal with it. I humbly request at this stage that we give CFO Dr. Mnguni to deal with the first part as per direction from the chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you very much, City Manager, and good morning, Chair. Good morning, Chair of COCTA, the members of Parliament of Scopa, Babu Mayor, and our Chair of MPEC, the colleagues from the AG and the colleagues from the office. As directed and guided, I will start from slide 1, and my last slide will be slide 29. Before we get to the audit outcome, I think it's important just to give a key highlight in terms of the city of eThekwini. The increased population is about 4.2 million, the last count. And then as far as this population, 59.2% of the population is under 35 years of age. This presents an opportunity, but at the same time is a challenge in terms of unemployment. eThekwini had a GFCF of around 54.9 billion during 2021, and the gross value added of eThekwini is about 361.2 billion during 2021. We are all challenged with respect to the global and domestic economic climate. There is negative impact of rapid urbanization that is impacting on us and on us delivering the services. Over the past 3 to 4 years, we've suffered a lot in terms of the disasters. Started with COVID, where it was very challenging to collect what is due to us. Followed by the civil unrest in 2021, and then the floods 2022 and tornado. So we are still recovering from those disasters. As a result, there are gaps in terms of capital budget, mainly because of the funding challenges. We're also experiencing a lot of infrastructure vandalism, especially around electricity and also water. There is a challenge as well with respect to homelessness, but there are plans in place to attend to that matter. The informal trading, especially around the city center, is exploding, but there are also plans to deal with that challenge. As far as the city finances, there are 3 key indicators that we consider critical. One of those is the audit opinion from the Auditor General. And then the second one is the credit rating that is done on a yearly basis. And then the third one is the annual assessment by National Treasury in terms of cities' finances. So with respect to the audit opinion from the Auditor General, we've received in December unqualified audit opinion with their findings in terms of the performance information and also findings in terms of compliance with the laws and regulations. Over the past 5 years, we've been getting unqualified audit opinion. However, I think the first 2 years, there were challenges with respect to the fair presentation of the financial statements. But now, the financial statements over the past 3 years that have been submitted are clean, are free from material misstatements. We are capacitating the team within finance. There is a training program for chartered accountant, so this is assisting us in improving the quality of the financial statements. The last credit rating assessment that was done, which was in July last year, our credit rating is AA minus and long term, and then A1 plus short term. This is investment grade credit rating, so we are able to access funding. But when we do that, we always take into account the issue of affordability. Budget assessment, the budget that we are currently implementing, 25-26, it was assessed by National Treasury as credible, fully funded, and aligned with the priorities as per the IDP. We've also engaged with the National Treasury recently in April, where they were assessing our 26-27 budget. They've also confirmed that the proposed budget, which is due to go to council next week, is also fully funded and also aligned with our priorities. As far as the collection rate, the monies that we collect from our ratepayers, as at end of June 2025, we had collected about 95%. To date, as at end of April, our collection is around 94%. So we are maintaining this 94-95% average over the years. So this enables us to continue putting the required infrastructure in various areas within eThekwini. With respect to bulk services, we are not in areas with ESCOM. We're not in areas with water board. So our account is in order as far as the bulk supply services.
May I request him to skip this slide? I will deal with it later. Thanks.
Okay.
Can go to the next slide.
The next slide is the Auditor General. We're looking at the period of 3 years. 22-23, it was unqualified as indicated. We had about 25 audit findings that were included in the report. And then 23-24, again unqualified with 20 findings. And then 24-25, unqualified, the findings reduced from 20 to about 13. The matters that are preventing us from achieving a clean audit, they include the following. One is the challenges with respect to compliance regarding the SCM rules. 2 is the expenditure management, especially around the payment of service providers within 30 days as required by the MFMA. And then 3, we were found wanting in terms of not dealing speedily with cases where there is a need for consequence management. And then the next one is with respect to performance reporting. Not all the indicators were adequately supported. And then the 4th one is environmental compliance, where we were found wanting in terms of some of our treatment works. And then the last one, the infrastructure management. As indicated by Ubabu Mayor, there are action plans that are in place, and those are being monitored by ESCO, by MPEC, the portfolio committees. The action plan for the 24-25 financial year was concluded by management by end of December. We are now busy with the implementation, and we are being held to account by Council, ESCO, and the portfolio committees.
Sorry, may I interrupt you? Colleagues, can we just get this situation fixed? It's becoming red. Can you see the screen? No, no, we are used to them. My apologies, Honorable Mayor and City Manager. We just need to get that sorted. Okay, shall we soldier on in the meantime? There's somebody coming in. When they come, then I'll ask for another interruption just so we can fix it. Yeah, you can look at your respective screens. The members also have the same on there. Oh yeah, then it fixed itself.
Yeah, no, thank you, Chair. And then the next slide, as indicated by Ubabu Mayor, there was communication that was sent through to the AG with commitments. And those commitments were first one was with respect to oversight and accountability. We are marking that as complete. The portfolio committees, the audit committee, ESCO and council are now playing oversight in terms of the audit action plans. They are being tracked. And then with respect to improvement to ICT operations and governance, that is in progress. There is oversight by the Executive Management Committee, and there are various projects that we are doing in order to ensure that we close gaps in terms of the control weaknesses that were identified. Those include the automation of a tender management system, the online invoicing processing in order to ensure that we pay invoices within 30 days. The human capital system in order to ensure that we comply with the MSCOA regulations, as the current system is not complying. And also the implementation of revenue management system in order to ensure that we deal with some of billing issues that sometimes are being raised with us. So those are in progress as we speak. Improving infrastructure management. We are capacitating ourselves in terms of the program management. And at the same time, Council had approved trading services reform strategies for electricity or energy, for water and sanitation, and also for DSW, refuse collection unit. Those strategies are being implemented as we speak, and in preparation for next year, we are working with National Treasury to ensure that the key areas are funded from there. And then the last one is monitoring and addressing slow progress and audit findings. This is in progress. I will touch on it later on, but it is being monitored by the oversight structures as already indicated. The 13 findings that were highlighted by the Auditor General, they include the following. The conflict of interest, what are we doing about the conflict of interest? I've indicated that we are in a process of concluding the tender management system. So our financial management system, which is inclusive of SCM system, is now talking to CSD because in the past it's been a challenge for us to identify the employees that are in other organs of state. So at least now with the CSD talking to our systems, we are able to pick up that timeously, where the declarations as part of the tender documents was not done. With our own employees, we are also implementing the new human resource system, which will integrate with our SCM system in order to pick up those matters. And then on consequence management is now being monitored by ESCO. There is a report that is done by Financial Misconduct Board to ESCO, and that report is also escalated to Council. So we are progressing in terms of dealing with those matters, and also there is accountability to the city manager through the Executive Management Committee in terms of the matters that are still pending. And then on expenditure management, payment not made within 30 days, I did indicate that there is a system that we've activated. We've gone live 1st of April. There were teething issues. However, we've stabilized now. So that system will allow us to monitor the receiving of invoices, because in the past, you'll find that invoices are received, but they are not captured on the system timeously, and will only pick up later when the invoices are with finance that the invoice should have been paid maybe a month or so before. So there is a system now that is able to track from the time the invoice comes, and it will indicate if the invoice is getting close to the due date. And also the service providers are able to track their own invoices from the system because they are also expected to load the invoices themselves. But those that are not able to load, we are still continuing to support them through the various departments and through our Sizakala centers. And then on performance information, we are monitoring. There is an SDBIP which was signed off by Ubabu Mayor at the beginning of the financial year. The performance in terms of SDBIP is being monitored through the portfolio committees and also through ESCO. And also City Manager has got a committee that monitors this performance. Where there is a need for corrective actions, those are taken appropriately. On the environmental management issues, we are working on packaging the license applications. We are assisted by Umgeni Tugela, the Water Board, as far as this matter is concerned, and they're working with the Department of Water and Sanitation. There was a finding about inappropriate use of Section 36. The SCM policy was refined to ensure that there is clear guidance in terms of when we are able to use the deviations. But at the same time, the contract that was picked up, it relates to the big one relates to the plumbing, which was procured at some stage back in 2012 through guidance from Council, but that process was found not to be in order. Immediately after we had received the feedback from the AG, we activated a process of procuring and where we advertise to our service providers. However, we were interrupted through court processes, but we are almost done in terms of finalizing that process. The next issue was the splitting of orders or procurement, where we procure for items below 750. We are working on automation in order to identify the items of similar nature and prevent them from being procured using the SSS system and recommend them for the tender management system. But at the same time, we are intensifying our planning as far as procurement is concerned. You will see later on that we are already planning for the next financial year. So we believe that if we intensify the procurement planning, we'll then be able to eliminate a number of items that are procured through the SSS as a result of splitting of orders. And then the next one is procurement not in compliance with the supply chain regulations. We've got interim contract which was procured in terms of complying with the principles of section 217. And then the last one relates to the transit camps. There is a plan in place to relocate in order to improve the living conditions.
Sorry, can I, the technician is here, so can I just ask them to just sort us out quickly? My apologies again. Oh, that's Honorable Kupeka. You know?
Now it seems to be okay, but it was.
Can I move and give respect?
It's not a quick fix. But it seems to be
Wait, is my, sorry?
I'll be back to. Can I unplug the cable? It seems to be better now.
Yeah, it's better now. Maybe it's because of your touch.
Yeah, at least.
Honorable members, shall we get back to our seats? Yeah, sorry. Yeah, no. No, that's fine. You're my favorite today, Honorable Isaac. You're out of the dog box. You've got amnesty. You've got amnesty today. You're not in trouble. Thank you very much. My apologies again. So they say it won't be a quick fix. So let's try and keep the cable as stable as possible. Thank you so much. Please, honorable members, shall we give them a chance to speak? Thank you.
Thank you. My next slide, the measures that we are implementing to improve audit outcome. When we get to clean audit, we want to ensure that we are able to maintain, and that's why it's critical at this point in time to ensure that we improve all the key controls around various areas. With respect to institutional reforms, the audit action plans have been strengthened. As I've indicated, we concluded as management our audit action plan by December, And there was a lot of focus in terms of dealing with the root causes of the findings that were noted by the AG. And we also had to ensure that the target that we set for ourselves are complying with the SMART principle. And the milestone in terms of timeframes, we made sure that they are clear. And also the evidence will be in place to support the achievement. The executive directors have been tasked with the responsibility of ensuring that all the actions that have been put in place are complied with, and City Manager directed that as part of our performance plans, at least 20% should relate to the implementation of achieving a better audit outcome. The audit matters are elevated as a standing item at our executive management committee. The internal audit and also audit committee, they are playing their oversight in terms of monitoring and also providing guidance where necessary. With respect to the oversight monitoring, there is executive management, as indicated, that tracks these plans, and at the same time, they do go to portfolio committees, the MPEC and the Council and ESCO, and they are escalating mechanism in place where the milestones as set in the plans are not being achieved. What is expected is that the outcome will improve and also will minimize the repeat findings as we move forward, and also will comply with the laws and regulations and with improved governance and financial management controls. Over the past 5 to 6 years, we have received about 13 material irregularities. Those material irregularities that were raised, about 5 of them have been closed or resolved. We are dealing with about 8 of them. And the progress as far as the 8 that are outstanding is as follows, starting with the treatment works. The northern works, we've provided all the required information to the Auditor General, and they are in communication with the Department of Water and Sanitation. That is also applicable to Umbilo wastewater. We are awaiting feedback from Water and Sanitation National Department. The team from our Water and Sanitation is also engaging with National. The next one is EPWP. This one as well was raised as a material irregularity. The progress, we've provided a progress report to the Auditor General last month. We are also expected to provide a report before end of June that will indicate the progress. But the matters have been investigated by our CIIU or CIID, which is an investigating unit within the city, where recommendations were made to recover or to discipline. Disciplinary processes are currently in progress, and our legal is assisting us to recover monies where it was recommended that we must recover. However, though, I must indicate that there was a challenge as far as the WDPs, where Auditor General noted that some of the EPWP people that were on our payroll were also on the payroll of the provincial and the national departments. So we are trying to get more information so that we can be able to then issue summons to those people that were found to be double-dipping. We are communicating with the departments, national and provincial. We are getting the information slowly. We also asked the Auditor General to assist us with more information so that we can be able to recover those monies. And then the next one is with respect to what Dabega transit camps, where it was found that the ablution were not in good condition. We've already intervened there where the brick and mortar structures were put in place. And that program is now planned to be rolled out to the others as well that we've identified as not in good condition, and it will be implemented over the next 12 months. And then the next one is water meters not being repaired. We are replacing, there's a program to replace a number of meters. Budget has been provided in the current financial year, and also in the next financial year, there is a budget for meter replacement. So this finding, we are dealing with it in that manner. And then the next one is Namibia Stop 8. We've provided the information to the Auditor General, and they've noted, and there was a plan to relocate about 20 beneficiaries, and that plan is being implemented as we speak. The next one is overpayment of service provider for water tankers. This one, there was an amount that was noted by the AG where they were of the view that there was an overpayment. We refer this matter to our investigation unit, but at the same time, some of the amounts that were noted by the AG, as per our investigation, we noted that they were already identified by the system and recovery had taken place. But the CID is currently investigating the matter, and we will act as soon as we receive a report on this matter. We did the report to the Auditor General, and we will continue to update them as we continue with the implementation of the commitments that we made. But regarding the water tankers, Council took a decision over the past, I think, about 2022-23 financial year to insource, to acquire our own internal water tankers. Last year we acquired 100 water tankers, the year before another 100, and then before that I think it was about 55. So we've got our own water tankers now. We're no longer relying on the external service providers. And then the next one, number 8, also deals with the water tankering. On the infrastructure project, we've been consistently spending our approved budget at around, over the past 3 years, around 90%. The last financial year, we were about 96%. This is in line with the norm as indicated by National Treasury that we should be spending at least 90% of our budget. We are already planning for the next financial year. There are procurement plans that were tabled with the budget as at the end of March. And in terms of procurement, with respect to those plans, we are already 65% in terms of completion, and 18% of the project are in progress. And some of them will be implemented through the 750 and below process. With respect to the current financial year, we are expecting to spend around 90% again. The project, 97% of the project are already being implemented because the procurement is complete. There was 3% that was in progress in terms of procurement when we reported, but as at the end of last week, is only 2% now that is remaining. But we are confident we should be able to spend around 90%. In terms of the norms, our capital budget to total budget is was about 11.26 for 25-26. That is our target. This is in line with the norm by National Treasury, which requires us to be between 10 and 20% in terms of investing on infrastructure over the total budget. Last year, 24-25, we had spent about 10%. The year before, about 10.64%. And then our investment in terms of the key service delivery unit, which is your trading services, your electricity, water, sanitation, and solid waste, and also you've got your roads and housing. About 76% of the budget is dedicated to those infrastructure units. So it's only 24% that is allocated to the other departments. So there is a specific focus as far as our budget in terms of dealing with the infrastructure challenges. And with respect to repairs and maintenance, the norm is to spend around 8% of your budget. For the current financial year, we are planning to spend about 7.48%. In the previous financial year, it was about 7.37%. Why we are a bit low is because we are still recovering from floods. There is a number of pipes, both sewer and water, that are being replaced. So those are not repairs and maintenance as such, but they are classified as upgrade and they are capitalized accordingly. So if you add those upgrades to this number, we are above the norm of 8%. And then when it comes to our infrastructure delivery and service delivery oversight, we do acknowledge there are challenges in terms of implementing infrastructure project and also rehabilitation. We do acknowledge the challenge of aging infrastructure. As we invest on new, sometimes we also need to deal with the old. So we've been challenged in terms of striking that balance, maintaining and also investing on the new. The flood damages, as indicated, there was a huge impact in terms of our infrastructure. The cost that were estimated as per the last flood is up over 10 billion that was incurred. We do appreciate the support that we received from national as far as the disaster grant, but we are also using our own resources in order to catch up as far as these infrastructure challenges are concerned. The progress with respect to the infrastructure delivery challenges, there is oversight as already indicated, and the projects are being monitored. The portfolio committees on a monthly basis are given the list of projects that we are implementing, and they are able to then monitor and ask questions where projects are not moving. We are also improving the coordination through Program Management Office. We've just appointed a director responsible for Program Management Office. So there is better coordination now as far as implementation of a project. There is also increased focus on proactive maintenance and also rehabilitation planning. We are monitoring teams across wastewater treatments, housing, because in some cases there are delays as far as the implementation of houses, the water meter maintenance, and also flood damaged infrastructure. Oversight, again, there is intensified oversight as far as these matters. As I've said, monthly we're reporting to portfolio committees, ESCO, MPEC, and also council. They are able to see how we're progressing as administration. These are the infrastructure projects that we are implementing across the city at a high level. With respect to electricity, we are dealing with the ongoing refurbishment and maintenance of our substation to ensure that we stabilize our network so that electricity can keep generating monies for us. And also, we are dealing with the replacement of our cables. As I've indicated, the issue of vandalism is a challenge, so continuously we are replacing our cables, whilst we're also improving our capacity to secure some of this infrastructure. We are implementing loss reduction strategies as approved by our council last year as part of the trading services reform. And also we are strengthening our controls in terms of managing our contractors. We now, again, through oversight, reporting to our finance committee in terms of performance of all our contractors. So where there is a non-compliance with respect to the terms and conditions of contract, the processes that is articulated in contract are being followed, and those processes also include blacklisting where the performance is not being corrected. With respect to water, we are implementing these turnaround strategies in order to deal with our non-revenue water, which is quite high at about 53%. So the strategies are in place, are being implemented, and we are funding them as well as we move forward. Leak detection, pipe replacement, and pressure management interventions, those are being implemented as we speak, and we continue in the next financial year. The meter audit and replacement, as indicated, the AG raised a finding, material irregularity on this matter, so we are attending to it. through a replacement of those meters that are no longer working. On wastewater, there is a lot of investment that we are making in terms of the treatment works, and also in response to the Auditor General, as you have seen earlier on, they raised a red flag in terms of our Umbilo treatment works and also the northern treatment works. So we are investing on those and the others that are within the city. Whilst doing that, we are also replacing our networks. Some of the pipes got washed away during the 2022, so they are being replaced as we speak. There is a budget allocated in this financial year and also in the proposed budget. We are also dealing with the housing-related matters. There are matters that were raised, flagged by the AG where there were delays in terms of implementing a project. And as I've indicated, we're capacitating ourselves in terms of program management, and there is better coordination with the other departments, because when you put a house, you must still ensure that that house has got electricity, has got water, has got other services which are rendered by the other departments. So our program management office is going to assist us in improving that coordination. And then on roads, there is ongoing rehabilitation of flood damaged roads and also storm water infrastructure. The budget is available, although it's not enough, but it's available and is being implemented as we speak. There is a pothole repair program that is being implemented, and also our stormwater system are being maintained as we continue. On the water loss intervention, as I've indicated, there is a turnaround Metro Transit Services strategy for water that was approved, water and sanitation. And as part of the strategy, there are interventions that we want to that we are implementing in order to deal with the water loss. And some of those they include the cleansing of our data, improving our billing and reading, and also procuring a performance-based contract in order to assist us in dealing with non-revenue water, and also the awareness as far as water conservation, and also improving our technology in terms of monitoring the system, the repairs of the leaks that are being identified, also managing the pressure in order to ensure that if there are leaks, at least we do not lose as much as we could. The pipe renewal and rehabilitation, there are budget in place, although they are not adequate, but they are budget. We are renewing some of the pipes in order to ensure that we minimize the leaks. One of the big ones is the Southern Aqueduct, which is supplying the areas in the south, Chatsworth, Umlazi, Folwen, and all those areas. I've already spoken to the meter replacement, and also we are doing a meter maintenance because some of them, when we do assessment, we don't have to replace, but we have to maintain so that they continue to provide accurate readings to our consumers. And then the next one is unauthorized, irregular, fruitless, and wasteful expenditure. During the 24-25 financial year, we do acknowledge there was a spike. That spike was as a result of 3 areas. One of them is with respect to the local content requirement. In line with the 2017 PPFA regulations, we expected for certain categories when we advertise to indicate the local content requirements. However, because of the challenges, some of those contracts were either not advertised with those requirements, or where they were advertised with those requirements, the tender documents were not appropriately completed. As a result, those contracts were found wanting in terms of complying with 2017 regulations. But as we are aware, we're now implementing 2022 regulations, and we've aligned our policy with the 2022 regulations. However, we still have contracts that were procured in compliance with the 2017 regulations. The last contract from electricity, the expiry date is, which is a rate-based contract, is end of January. So we think by end of December, if not January, we will then be able to have zero, after that period, we'll have zero irregular expenditure coming from the local content. We did consult with COCTA previously as to whether it's possible, and also national, as to whether it's possible to regularize a contract, and the view was that you cannot regularize a contract, but you need to regularize the expenditure itself. So hence we are continuing to regularize as we incur. And then the second big item is with respect to the plumbers, is over $500 million as well. I think it's about over 700 million. So what happened with respect to the plumbers? Back in 2012, the council had taken a decision to set up a panel of plumbers in order to create opportunities for small plumbers across the city. That was informed by a policy, and then that panel was created, and we've been using that panel since then. However, because it did not follow the Section 217 of the Constitution, those principles, this contract was found to be not complying. So, as indicated, we've gone out to the market in January. We were interrupted by the court processes. We are now about to conclude that process. So it is irregular. We've acknowledged that, but we are putting corrective action as far as that matter is concerned. And then the next big one is on the water tankers, where the AG was of the view that the extension of that contract that was procured, I think it was in 2023, was not fully complying with the requirements. So as a result, the expenditure linked to that was then considered to be irregular, and we accepted that as management. We did indicate, though, that council had taken a decision to insource, hence we did not go back to the market for another long-term or 3-year contract because we're of the view that that contract might not be required. So those are the 3 big items that have resulted in our irregular expenditure increasing. As far as the balance of the 3.2 billion, it relates to the 64 items as at 30 June 2025, and they've been submitted to MPEC. 689 million of this balance has been considered by MPEC and written off by council, and 657 relates to the issue that I've just explained of the water tankers. As I've said, we're no longer using the service providers. We've got our own water tankers now. And then the 799 million, it relates to the procurement of plumbers as a result of that 2012 council policy that we were implementing. And then we've got some items with respect to the splitting of orders. Again, I've indicated there are processes to deal with this matter as we move forward. And then the local content that I explained, about 1.9 billion was reported in the 24-25. So with respect to the local content, we had gone out to tender, but the specification was not 100% in compliance with the 2017 regulation. That's why then it was found wanting. And then if you then unpack the root causes of the UIFW, the first one is the issue of demand management. As we've already seen, we are intensifying our effort in terms of dealing with the procurement planning. We're now enforcing the planning early before the year can start. So with that, we're hoping that we'll be able to reduce irregular expenditure. SCM teams have also been capacitated to support various directorates. The inadequate procurement plans, I think I've already spoken to that one, and you've seen the progress for the current and also for the next financial year. Poor planning contract procured with the use of Section 36. Again, that talks to our planning, and we are dealing with the procurement plans as indicated. But at the same time, the automation of contract management or the supply chain management system is on. We are able to pull out a report now with all the contract and able to identify those that are due to expire soon. Some of the measures that are being implemented is the automation of contract management that I've already indicated. We are also reviewing the report for compliance before they go to committees. There is also procurement planning, as I've indicated. Internal audit is also assisting in terms of reviewing some of the procurement transactions as part of their plans. The online invoicing, in order to deal with the 30 days issue, is being implemented. And the accounting principles of issuing orders prior to work being done are being enforced. And then when it comes to deviations and contract extensions, deviations is where we are applying Regulation 36 or Section 36. So again, we are putting more effort in terms of procurement planning. As you can see, during the current financial year, the Section 36 or deviations are only about 557 million. And then they equate to about 7% compared to 30% in the 2022-23 financial year. So we think our interventions are assisting in terms of only in terms of reducing Section 36 or deviations or using deviations. And then as far as the variations or increase in scope, that one is still a challenge. As at the end of during this financial year, we are currently at slightly over 1 billion, and that equates to about 14%. But 2022-23, we are around 3% at about 205 million. During the current financial year, the big spike was as a result of our fuel contract, which is a more than 3-year contract. That contract requires us to install devices so that we minimize the stealing of fuel. So that process took longer than expected. It was concluded in December, so we had to extend the old contract whilst the installation was taking place. But at the same time, we are upgrading rehabilitating our Moses Mabhida Stadium. We had to extend the scope of our OEM through a variation. Of the amount there is about 285 million. So those two items alone are over 50% of the over 1 billion variations. But there are controls, as already indicated, that are being implemented to contain or to avoid using variations or using deviations. And then with respect to the audit action plans, the Auditor General has indicated in our audit report we had 13 findings. However, they also issued us with a management report. And in total, the findings that we had, 107. So 13 is at the audit report level, and the rest at the management report level, classified as other important matters. As already indicated, we concluded our audit action plan as management by end of December. They were then reviewed by internal audit, and they are being monitored as we speak. The implementation of the action plan is in progress. 37% of the findings have already been resolved, and 63% of the findings are in progress. Greater than of the 63%, 80%, more than 79 are more than 80% in terms of the implementation, and then 20 of them are between 61 and 80% in terms of the implementation. 26 of them are between 41 and 60% in terms of implementation. 17 of them are between 21% and 40% in terms of implementation. And then 28 are between 0 and 20% in terms of the implementation. So we've closed 37. The rest of the findings are being implemented, and they are in various stages of implementation. And as already indicated, these are being tracked by the various oversight structures. With respect to the law enforcement agencies, there are cases that have been reported to SAPS. As already indicated, we do have an investigation unit within the city. It's called CIID. When they pick up possible criminal elements during investigation, those things are then reported to SAPS. There is about 55 of those cases that have been reported. They are engaging with SAPS on a continuous basis as far as those cases. The cases that have been reported, they relate to fraud and also fraud and corruption, and in some cases system breaches. Some cases relate to theft, and there are HR-related irregular appointment issues and illegal electricity connection and illegal sale of municipal properties. Chair, I think that is the last slide, slide 29. Thank you very much.
I just want to be sure that you remember you had sections there. So there's a section marker after this. I just want to be sure that we are on the. Oh, yes, yes. Then we get to the additional information requests. Okay. Honorable Executive Mayor, can I hand back to you? You might want to address some issues before we get to questions. And you, City Manager, it's entirely up to you.
Thank you very much, Chair, for the opportunity once again, and we thank the CFO for the presentation. I'd actually asked him to skip slide number 5 that deals with the political leadership and administration, and we can go back to slide number 5. We simply present the fact that all council committees are fully functional. We meet at least once, council meet at least once a month, and all portfolio committees meet at least once a month as well. And we have a critical stakeholder in our city. We are 60% rural. I think most people don't know that, 60% rural. And we have 18 traditional communities headed by traditional leaders, and we have a good working relationship with them, and all committees play their oversight role. But the point I wanted to make, Chair, is that our priority as the political leadership was to ensure that there is stability, both at a political and administrative level. I think we've achieved that. Because the intention was to strengthen and restore systems and monitor compliance and ensure consequence management. We thought we could achieve that by maintaining an open and an accountable system of government, and thereby try to improve service delivery and create an enabling environment for growth. Just this last year alone, just as I learned, the city received in excess of 50 billion rand investment in our economy, and we're excited about that. And with further pledges being made into our economy, and the business confidence has actually increased. There's a survey that is conducted by the University of KwaZulu-Natal with business that shows that business confidence has increased from 52% to in excess of 63% in the city. And the tourism numbers have also increased in the city, which is a sign that we are recovering from the previous incidents of disasters. I thought I should just make that point. We are a city recovering. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Executive Mayor. CM, you good? The leadership has spoken. Okay, that's fine. No, thank you very much. So, what we are going to do is we're going to take a break so that when we restart, we will not stop until we are stopped by the bell. So it's important that everyone gets to get a body break, especially you and your team, because unlike the members, you can't walk in and out during the meeting. When we come back, each of the members will have 15 minutes for a direct interaction with you. So what I will say is that I think what I would like to encourage is short, sharp questions and short, sharp answers, because the members are under the whip from me. And once their time comes, I will then have to cut them off so that everybody gets an opportunity. We will not do all the members in this session. Whoever hasn't had a chance will then get to have their chance later on when we reconvene. So can I ask that we are back here starting to talk at exactly 11 o'clock? Thank you. Honorable members, shall we begin, please? Thank you very much. So, as I said, we're going to give our our honorable members a 15 minutes with each of you. So, short, sharp questions, honorable members, short, sharp answers to our guests. I also believe that you may have noticed, Executive Mayor, that a lot of your compatriots from eThekwini are here. Honorable Beasley, who I'm going to start with, is from eThekwini. There's quite a few people. So, it's time for family business. Honorable Beasley, I am going to start with you. We're just going to go, and unfortunately today there is no second row, so everybody gets a chance as we speak. So your 15 minutes will begin now.
Thank you, Chair. Whilst Honourable Isak was out the room, he donated his 15 minutes to me. So, yeah. But just greetings to my fellow residents from eThekwini. So glad you could have here. And for the record, Chair, I'm going to say eThekwini is the best city in South Africa. It's broken, but it can be fixed, and it is beautiful. It really is. We've got beautiful people, beautiful coastline, and we've got so much going for it. So it really, really is a beautiful city. And also, Chair, I'd just like to compliment the team on their presentation. I think it's one of the most open and transparent presentations that we've seen so far, so to compliment them. But I'm going to go straight into the questions, and I'm going to start off with Ensure Ubuntu. And I was the one that put those questions forward. And the reason why I do, as a resident, as a ratepayer, it appears that the law and order of our city has been outsourced to people operating outside of the law and order. And as a resident and as a South African, I have a huge issue with it. And I'm sure, Mayor, this question's directed to you. Did you see the video of and I'll just share with my colleagues, there's a video that circulated of this company, outsourced company, horrifically, and when I say horrific, got to the point where I couldn't watch it, Chair, of them beating a helpless person for about 5 minutes. And he was beaten, and then he was beaten again, and then he was beaten again by service providers of eThekwini. So I want to ask you, Mayor, did you see that video?
Yes, I did. Thanks.
Thank you. And what was your response to that? What action did you take in response to that?
Sorry. I think it's a criminal act, and the person who brought it to my attention is the CEO of the Dennis Haley Center, and he said to me he had reported it to the police, and he was still waiting for the action on the part of the police, and maybe that the matter is reported to the law enforcement agencies for investigation and action. Thank you very much.
Yeah, but as a city, as a service provider, what has a city done in terms of them as a service provider? It's for me like having my house fixed and I employ a contractor and the roof falls down and then I try and sue them and they say, no, the guys who were doing it have resigned. That they're responsible. What action did you take against Ensure?
Well, yes, in terms of, in terms of, let me not say yes, in terms of vicarious responsibility, I can't say for sure the company management it's responsible, because I'm not quite certain if those two security officers were really acting within their scope and the cause of their employment. But what I heard when I inquired with the team here is that they have since been dismissed or resigned. I think they were dismissed, the two. They resigned. Yes, they resigned, and therefore the matter is left for the police to act on it. Thank you.
I fully disagree with that, Mayor, because they are a service provider, and if that's your contract is with the service provider, not with those employees. So I fully disagree. And again, I come to the fact that you've outsourced the law and order to people outside the law and order. So I think your response, and I think as a mayor, you should have publicly denounced the issue. It should have been in a press statement. And has any other matters by Ubuntu been reported to you?
I did denounce it. On that part, I've done it. But they will tell the city manager will tell you on what how they dealt with it administratively.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Honorable Beasley, I want to start off by categorically denying that we have outsourced the policing responsibility to an external company. That company, can I refer the members, yes, to that particular page, and the next one, which is page 80. That particular company was appointed as part of inner city regeneration, so that it provides security and beyond security, a top-up service in terms of public realm upgrade and things like that. They work in tandem with our Metropolitan and SAPS. So after this particular video of a beating of a homeless person, we exercised our right to invoke relevant sections of the contract that we have with them, to ask them to explain to us. And they've basically explained what happened and what are the corrective measures that they've taken to ensure that an incident of this nature doesn't recur. They also implemented consequence management to such an extent that those people resigned even before they were taken through that particular process. They have apologized. If you look at those 4 points in that particular report that says corrective measures implemented, I'm not going to read them as they are, but there was an investigation they did. They engaged the people who had launched a complaint. They did a refresher course, and they installed cameras, dash cams on all vehicles and on all security people. But insofar as the mayor denouncing the event, on the 14th of February 2026, the mayor publicly denounced the incidents of violence against homeless at Dennis Haley Center AGM, which you know is attended by a number of people, and their report gets to be widely circulated. On the 19th of March 2026, the department also denounced all acts of violence and any abuse of human rights by any service provider at a meeting which was held with the concerned civil society and academia. So we have not outsourced it. They are working in tandem with the police infrastructure in the city. Thank you.
No, thank you. And then just in terms of the homeless one, before we move on, a shelter's being built in Ilova. And I don't know who came up with this idea, but building a homeless shelter 35 kilometers away from the CBD is nonsensical, because the homeless people aren't going to go there. They're going to come back. So very 30 seconds reason for why it was built 35 kilometers away from the CBD, because homeless people come to the CBD looking for jobs, and that they're not going to go and stay 35 kilometers away. It's not like a holiday camp. So just 30 seconds, then I need to move on to something else. Thank you.
Remember, Honorable Beasley, homeless people are not only in the central business district of Durban. They are in other 6 different primary and secondary CBDs. And one, we've located them there because that was the site that was owned by the city, suitable, already have services, and next to it there is a capacity building, a center by Durban a business directorate. So the plan was to ensure that we link them with the opportunities so that we reintroduce them back to the community. I don't support the view that says it is nonsensical. It was carefully planned.
No, that's fine. Then just moving on, there was an SIU proclamation R9 2021 regarding the infilling housing policy, particularly in Phoenix, and the conclusion of the SIU. I mean, you read it, it's terrible reading. I mean, everything wrong could have gone wrong. And my concern is that people of Phoenix, particularly the poor, the marginalized, have been abused through corruption, but this is continuing. And I want to know how many of those contractors that were identified by the SIU in that report have been blacklisted by eThekwini and blacklisted by National Treasury?
Thank you very much. According to my knowledge, that particular investigation has not been fully concluded. And we are still expecting us, don't read what the complainant said. I'm talking about the actual SIU report.
With all due respect, I've read the SIU report and it said they must be blacklisted. And we have the SIU coming here time and time again, and they've given recommendations for people to be blacklisted and they're not, and the corruption continues unabated. The SIU in the report, and this is not, I'm not reading this, I read the SIU report, it says they must be blacklisted. And I've gone on to your blacklisting thing and not one of them have been blacklisted and not one of them on National Treasury. So they are still free to do it. And my understanding, they're doing developments in Phoenix again, and there's a park that's, and I'll give you the addresses, 338 View Haven Drive, Ranmore Crescent and Revertone Place. So the marginalised are being, this is continuing, even though the SIU have issued a report, and you've got a copy of the report. How can this be?
Yeah, Chairperson, can I request Mr. Pato to respond to the specifics insofar as that investigation is concerned? Thank you.
Good morning once again. Honorable Peski, to my understanding, there is no report or a contractor in the ones that are working in Phoenix that an outcome have said they must be blacklisted. Instead, what is in the report is to fast track the ownership of the people in the houses so that they can get the full ownership. It's the concern, and this was happening even on our consultation with the budget. Fast tracking those people to get their title deeds ownership which is what city is addressing through planning. Thank you.
Yeah, just the point, and then I'm going to move on because I'm running out of time, is the SIU proclamation recommendations haven't been implemented by the city, and we see it time and time and time again, and the poorest and the most marginalised, and those particularly in Phoenix, are suffering the consequences for that. So I urge you, Mayor, please implement that report. Next time you come, we're going to go through the 6 items and see how many have been implemented. And then an issue very, very close to me is a sewage issue. I surf. There's certain days I can't surf when it's raining, when the northeast has been blowing, and when a sewage treatment plant is down. But at the moment, there's absolutely chaos in Durban's harbour. It's an absolute disgrace. It's going around the world. What is the status on that at the moment? Because that goes into the sea. Now the southwest blows, and then nobody can go in the water. And you talk about tourism. That is going around world news, the amount of sewage that's going into the harbour. And you know, as Action SA, it's not a political statement. We took you guys to court. We won the matter, and I hope you're not going to appeal the matter. Rather use the money to correct it. But if you can just advise what's the latest on that harbour discharge, because it's bringing our city, our beautiful city, into disrepute, and it doesn't deserve that. The people don't deserve that.
Thank you, Honourable Beasley. I'm going to request Ethnic Msweli to just respond to that. Please don't go on to the court order stuff and the background. Just give a little bit of background, but be straight to what is the progress till now. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you, CM, and greetings to the committee. The recent incident that affects that pump station is called Mahatma Gandhi Pump Station. It's a very unique design because of the location where it is. So we're dealing with a very particular challenge there that we don't normally face. Because of its location, the actual pump station, the big part of the pump station is below ground. So what we found is one of the flaws that we found with the pump station was that because of it being below ground, there are gases that develop underneath. Because I think it's a first that we experience something like that. So the design at the time did not sufficiently cover for that possibility of the acids. So those acids then corrode the equipment underneath. So that's what we are dealing with. It's not a normal problem. It's not something you encounter on a daily basis. So as a result, we really are working flat out. Our guys are there 24/7 literally, and they're working on that. So without going into too much detail, I'll just indicate that you fix the pumps, because it's the pumps currently that are affected through this corrosion that I'm talking about, the damage from the acid. And so you recover them, and they work for a while, and then from time to time we lose them again. So, but the work is currently happening. The teams are on site as we speak. They've been there for hours. Yeah, thank you. Sorry, just one.
No, I was saying carry on, Honorable Beasley. You still have a few minutes still. Yeah.
you, Chair. And then the water crisis, it's a massive crisis. And Chair, I'd just like to read this number into the record. 676 million litres of water is lost in eThekwini a day. 676. I mean, you wonder how many of these, it'll be trillions. That's how much water is lost a day. 58% water losses. I was in the council a couple of years ago, and what's been put up here is what I saw 3 years ago. The water losses are getting worse. There has to be a solution, but it can't be the same old. And what's happening now, residents are suffering, businesses are suffering, 58% water loss, and you'll say, well, some of it's non-billed. The majority of that is going down the drain. 676 million litres of water is going down the drain in eThekwini every day.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Just to clarify something that the honourable member raised earlier on, I have it on record that we don't have the SIU report yet on Phoenix. I've confirmed it with the team. Insofar as the water loss, Msweli, can you please respond to that quickly? Thank you.
Okay. No, thank you. I think the numbers that have been given are correct. But one of the biggest contributors, to maybe the top two that I would put that are contributing to our high water losses, is the age of our infrastructure in eThekwini, which the council has identified and is now dealing with. If you look at the investment that is now going to the water and the sewer infrastructure, I would say in the past 3 years, it has been bumped up significantly. And that is to address the challenge. His Worship, the Mayor mentioned earlier on that we are 60% rural. So you have to do that and balance with dealing with these backlogs in terms of people that did not have access to water and sanitation. And that poses a particular challenge, because if we didn't have those backlogs, obviously all the funding that's available would have just gone to upgrading infrastructure. And if you did that, you wouldn't have this problem that we have. Prior to the Unicity being formed, when we had the local councils, because those local councils did not have this component of the rural areas, if you would go back and check, you'll see that their water loss figures were very low. So if you looked at Pinetown, Barrow, if there's a correct way to pronounce it, go back and look at their water losses at the time. They didn't have the surrounding rural areas, so the water loss was low. The minute you bring in the rural areas, then you start to have the challenges. But there is a concrete program to address the non-river water issue, and the CFO, when he presented, he mentioned the National Treasury Program, the turnaround strategy that's being implemented. That strategy prioritizes dealing with this, because it is indeed a low-hanging fruit, that if we can stop the bleeding there, we will then have the money to do other work.
Last one.
Yeah, thank you. And I mentioned the blacklisting earlier. I've gone on to the eThekwini's municipality, and there's about 24 suppliers blacklisted. For me, it's bizarre that people who are committed fraud, incompetence, poor performance, that there's only 24 on eThekwini's blacklisting. But why aren't one of those on the national blacklisting thing? Because that is a requirement of the law that it needs to go to. So you can't put something on your blacklisting and not report it to National Treasury, because that's the whole purpose of having a blacklisting database, is those people should be prevented from dealing with the state in any capacity. So I just want to know why it hasn't been elevated up to National Treasury.
CFO, please.
Thank you. With respect to blacklisting, we've got our own policy that we follow. And in terms of that policy, when we've identified the challenges regarding the contract, we then write to them to indicate that these are the issues. Please justify as to why you should not be blacklisted. Once you get a response, the committee will assess those. If they decide to blacklist, then they will make that decision. That information is then submitted to National Treasury. In the past, there's been a challenge. Information was not submitted there, but we've been engaging with them. So now we are submitting information. I think I'm not sure about their process, whether they, once they receive from us, they then rely on our decision and upload it on their system, or they follow their own process before they get it on their database. But from our side, we acknowledge there was a challenge in the past, but now we are communicating our decision so that they can then be able to take them forward. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. We'll also mark this for further discussion, Honorable Beasley. Your time is up, so you will get a bite later on. Thank you very much. Honorable Isaac, you're in my good books today. You should sit that side more often.
So, thank you, Chairperson. Yeah, the sun is shining nicely outside, so awesome. Good morning, colleagues. Thank you so much for being with us. eThekwini, Durban, yeah, colleagues from Scopa. It's great to be back here again. I was saying to Mr. Beasley yesterday, you know, it's not only emotionally taxing when you're at Scopa, it's become psychologically disturbing when you have to listen to these kind of reports every day, week in, week out. So colleagues, just bear with me. But Mr. Beasley has covered one or two key issues, and I suppose colleagues will. I'm going to go as quick as I can. Okay, let's just start off here. Put aside these other ones. The ICC and the Ushaka Marine, okay? Now, obviously, these belong to the city, or they're entities of the city, if my understanding serves me well, and that you need to supply separate financial statements for these entities. Now, what I'd like to know quickly is, what is the current return on investment on these two investments, and are the audited financial statements being given and supplied and done in terms of the Act for both Ushaka and for the ICC? Shall I take the answer, Chairperson, and then move to the next one, right? So please engage me on that, sir.
Thank you very much. CFO will respond.
Thank you. Ushaka Marine and ICC, they are submitting financials on a yearly basis to us and also to the Auditor General. Last year, both of them received a clean audit. However, in terms of their financial performance, they do have challenges. There is a report for Ushaka Marine that is scheduled to go to council. In terms of that report, we are recommending some sort of intervention. Hopefully, that report should go through either this month or next month. With respect to ICC, there are also initiatives to enhance their revenue, but currently they do have challenges. But as far as the audit, they've got clean audit. We don't have any concerns as far as that is concerned. Thank you.
Okay, so I won't get into a debate about those two issues. I touched on them because I think many individuals, and if you look at what's going on in the press, etc., those two entities are problematical for the city of Durban. And I think you realize that as management, we know that. Okay, but let's just move on because, in the interest of time, CFO, if I might pose a question to you. I read, you know, in the presentations that were forwarded to us. Now, it's a hard-hitting statement and difficult for me and South Africans out there listening to digest. But the AGSA says, as the accounting officer, you, sir, are not implementing recommendations relating to monitoring and oversight compliance. Multiple repeat transgressions with laws and regulations. Now, sir, those are not my words. I am quoting from the AGSA's report. You as the CFO, perhaps you could just tell us as the committee and South Africans listening out there, what are your comments to what the AGSA is saying about these multiple transgressions?
Thank you very much, Honorable Isaac. My name is Musampele. I am the accounting officer of eThekwini. The statement by the Auditor General is correct in a sense that it does reflect an unsatisfactory progress in dealing with some of the findings that they have they have raised. But I'm happy to submit that through the presentation, you can see that we are improving in that particular process, just to ensure that we get the organization to be anchored into the culture of accountability. We are doing consequence management for those people who are not complying. So we are doing all the best we can to ensure that we change the situation around. Thank you.
Okay, if I might continue with your permission, Chairperson. So, as you just said now, anchored in the culture of accountability. So, based on the anchored in the account or in the interest of accountability, then how does one then explain? How does one explain? I mean, 4.84 billion rand of irregular expenditure. In 2023-24, you had eThekwini had some 1.6 billion rand of irregular expenditure. Okay, so in 24 months, 6.43 billion rand was written off in 2 financial years, in the interest of accountability and culture, as you might have mentioned. How do you account for 6.43 billion rand being written off in 24 months? I mean, has there been any investigations? Who is responsible? What is going on? Just give us a short synopsis of. Then I'll move on to the next one. This chairperson will cut me off quick when my time.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, honourable member. We've reflected in our presentation how those irregular expenditure have come about, but I'm going to request the CFO to give further details. Thank you.
Thank you. With respect to the irregular expenditure, the council does have a policy and a reduction plan that was approved back in 2021. However, if you look at the numbers, during the presentation, I did indicate that there are 3 big items. One of those items is your local content. We had 2017 PPFA regulations, which require, I think it's Regulation 8, which required that when we advertise tenders, we must stipulate the local content requirement for certain categories. So during those years when the regulations were applicable, because of the challenges that the technical teams had, in some cases, when we advertised the specifications, we did not stipulate those requirements. And then secondly, when we receive responses, in some cases, the bidders will not indicate compliance with the requirement. As a result of that, those were found to be in breach of the 2017 regulation. We then had to review all the contracts that are subject to 2017 regulations, and we've got a register. Those were then declared as regular expenditure, and on a yearly basis, as we incur the expenditure, we then declare it as irregular. Because initially, as I've said, we consulted with the province, COGTA, and the national as to whether we can regularize contract instead of expenditure. And the view was that we can only regularize or condone the expenditure, not the contract. So there is a big chunk. If you look at 22-23 and 23-24, the big chunk of that expenditure relates to the local content. However, in the last financial year, the 2 items, one is the plumbers. The plumbers, as I've indicated, council back in 2011, 2012, had resolved on a policy dealing with the plumbers. And that policy, basically, if you look at the principles, they wanted to empower local plumbers within eThekwini in order to participate, so that they can participate in assisting us to repair the infrastructure. So that policy, in terms of that policy, we were required to advertise, get the plumbers to submit their bids and then put a database. So that has been in place since then. However, there have been challenges with respect to that. And we acknowledge that in terms of the MFMA, your contract should only be up to 3 years. If not 3 years, there's a process you need to follow. So we acknowledge that that process was not complied with. As a result, it was declared irregular. It amounts to about 800 million of the billions that you are referring to. And then there's an issue of the water tankers. where we decided not to go back to the market for a 3-year contract because council had resolved that we must insource. We had already bought over 150 tankers, so we decided not to go back to the market. Instead, we decided to use Section 116 of the MFMA, which allows us to extend the contract. But there was a view that that provision of the MFMA should not have been used. So we accepted it, and we then declared it as irregular expenditure. These irregular expenditures, in terms of that framework I referred to, before they can be written off, there is an investigation that is done in line with the Section 32 of the MFMA. And in addition, we do have a financial misconduct board. That financial misconduct board is made up of internal executives and also external people. Is chaired by an external legal person, and also there is a representative from provincial government. So they are sitting on a monthly basis to assist us as far as the financial misconduct is concerned. So the cases are being investigated, where consequence management is required, is being implemented. So that's a summary of what we're doing as far as irregular. So as I've said, regarding local content, the last contract is expiring end of January. So after January, you should not have any other irregular as far as the local content is concerned. And the plan being, you'd still find it this year because AG brought it to our attention in November last year. The contract was still being used for the current financial year, so we still find it. We did go out to the market in January, as I've said, but because people were not happy, they wanted to continue to participate, they took us to court. 2 weeks ago, we got a decision that we can proceed with that process. So we are proceeding with the processes. So we are working on these matters, and hopefully they will be eliminated soon. Thank you very much.
Okay, Chair, I'm not sure how I'm doing for time. Can I go ahead quickly? Well, thank you for your response, but I'm sure, with due respect, Chair, that when we come back this evening, if we could interrogate these matters even further, because I don't think that we're just going to settle for a discussion off the top in terms of those responses. So I'd like us, if we could come back this evening to this very issue, because, you know, you talked a little bit of investigations, but just give us a very top slice. We want to get into the meaty, bony stuff on the, because, you know, we spoke of irregular expenditure. I mean, now we're going to move. I just want to quickly slip in a comment on fruitless and wasteful expenditure. We still need to get an explanation on that one too, which is separate from irregular expenditure, but we'll talk about that one. And then I want to understand, and perhaps you could explain to the committee and colleagues, deviations now. Then thereafter I have one last question, Chair. The deviations, if I might ask, what are these exceptional cases which the AG talks of, which the municipality finds impractical or impossible to follow procurement processes? Why do you find it so impossible, I mean, to follow procurement processes? This is not rocket science, it's a big metro. I mean, you're dealing with billions of rand, you've got systems and people in place. So you want to talk to that quickly, and then with due respect, Chairperson, after that reply, just have one question and then I'll step off. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Before a CFO zooms into Section 36, which is the section that caters for deviation. But on the point of NCAD, on the culture of accountability, in responding to the original question, if the members can quickly be referred to slide 6, you will see in slide 6 that the matters affecting audit report are significantly declining. In the year 2022-2023, there were 25, 23, 24, 20, 24, 25 last financial year, they are only 13. That is a one. Then if you look at the slide that we had right now there, if you look at the deviation, which is that impracticality, emergency, and things like that, you will begin to see that now it has declined, having started from 30%, 22% the following year, 15%, and now it is sitting at 7%. These deviations are the source of this irregular expenditure, and you can see a significant decline. Then if you look at the variations, the section 1163s and so on, the variation of scope, you will also begin to see that had it not been for those two contracts, the fuel contract and the Moses Mapida Stadium would be sitting at something less than 3% as well. So I'm referring members to this so that they see this culture of improving from what we were to anchoring on accountability. CFO on section 36, the deviations.
Yeah. With respect to Section 36, I think the one that is, as you've correctly said, the one that is normally a problem is where we're using the clause that is called the impractical and not possible to follow the normal processes. In most cases, there you'll find that, for example, the issue of the Mahatma Gandhi, you'll find that there is a challenge where we need to intervene urgently. And if we are to follow an SCM process, normally it takes between 6 to 8 months. But then when we review, there will then be a view that if we had planned appropriately, we will have avoided following that section 36. So in most cases, it's about those. But in some cases, you will find that the contract has expired and we did not activate the tender process early enough. Whilst there is no a valid contract, we then explore the section 36 whilst the tender process is on. So it's those cases that we are dealing with. But as I've said, we are improving on procurement planning so that we are more proactive as far as these matters are concerned. Thank you.
Okay, Chair, then my last one for now, yeah. I just want to understand, and with due respect, is how do you justify, CFO, or maybe even city manager can maybe respond, is how do you justify the municipal manager's salary increase from 3.84 million rand in 23-24 to now 5.36 million rand in the current financial year?
I don't know how do I justify my salary, but let me start off by correcting the figures. I don't earn 5 million per annum. I earn 4.3 million per annum.
That's what it says, yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm correcting it. I'm saying it is not there yet.
Sir, with due respect, then you should have corrected it with the AG before this report came to us. You cannot come and correct the figure and the number here to us as the committee when the AG sends us a report and says, well, your salary has gone up from 3.84 million to 5.36 million in 12 months, or between the last financial year and this financial year. So for you to come and correct it here, the committee, when I am reading something totally different from the AGSA, I don't know. But go ahead, maybe Chairperson, you want to say.
No. You can answer it. That was your last question.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chairperson. I think it is proper that I don't debate my salary and justify it here. I must allow the CFO who budgets. Thank you, Chair.
No, let's resolve it this way. Where do you find this, Honorable? Our report, our briefing document. I see. Okay, but you are going to answer.
No, thank you very much. Chair, so as you know, the salaries of senior managers in local government are regulated. So the salary that is reflected, I'm assuming you are looking at the financial statements. It also covers the approval that was done, I think it was the minister at some stage. So it's not for 1 year, but there is a catch-up that is there. OCM is correct that his salary for the year is as reflected.
All right, we can deal with it later as well, Honorable Isaac. So thank you very much. Honorable Dagmar, welcome.
Thank you, Chair.
Good to see you.
As you know, I'm standing in for one of our members, but it's good to watch all the work that this committee is doing, even if it's from afar. But I would like to start off with a question to the Mayor. I think all of us here are aware that in April 2024, the President launched the eThekwini working group, and that those areas listed in terms of interventions were water and sanitation, the disaster response, safety and security, and also economic growth and tourism. And we have also seen public statements where the this intervention, the working group, has definitely led to a situation which could be described as moving from quite a lot of uncertainty to a more stable situation. I think I agree with many of my colleagues, the consequence management, those issues are serious, but it does seem we've reached a more stable situation in eThekwini, which I think is one of the key metros in our country. I think everyone is welcoming that, but also I think everyone is also demanding, that those areas pointed out and raised by colleagues are attended to. But what I would like to ask is, since April, could you just give us a sense, Mayor, about how does this working group actually work? What is the involvement of the provincial government, the national government, and from your perspective, what are the outstanding commitments from both the provincial government as well as the national government that would assist the city in achieving those defined objectives as set up by the working group? And obviously the context is this Auditor General's report, but we are aware that the working group started in April of 2024. So that's an initial question, Chair. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Thanks for the question. I will just deal with broad issues and then leave the technical issues to be dealt by the city manager and the team. Indeed, the President appointed the Presidential eThekwini Working Group. It is co-chaired by former MEC, Mr. Mabuya Kulu, as well as the DG in the office of the President, the Director General in the Presidency, DG Baleni, and all other work groups are also co-chaired by senior government officials, but that details will be presented by the teams. They will also indicate how many work groups have been appointed. They really have, I think they work in it's a different model of a DDM, which is, in my view, I've not seen a DDM model that is effective as this one, because we have seen practical results arising from this relationship, as it were. One of the examples, I'll just talk examples, is the unlocking of infrastructure investment, as it were. On the issue of water and sanitation, particularly on the issue of water, and through their intervention, we now can speak of a new dam that will be built, and that will be supply the whole of KZN, with the city of Durban becoming a major beneficiary from it. Is on the upper Mkomazi, and upper Mkomazi dam is a 400 million rand dam, and in the lower Mkomazi, there's another water scheme that is being developed there. Is in excess of 2 billion rand. And that would actually produce in excess of 100 megaliters of water a day. 70% of that water will come to the city. We are working with Umgeni, but it's through the intervention, Umgeni and the Department of Water and Sanitation and ourselves, and as it were. So it will augment our water supply in the city. And again, there was also intervened when it comes to the issue of on the sanitation front. And we in the city we have 27 wastewater treatment plants. 10 of them are responsible for 90% of our sewer. sewage. And now with Umgeni, they are helping us again with through their intervention as well to deal with to repair and ensure that they don't discharge untreated effluent into our rivers and pollute the sea, as it were. That's the reason why our beaches were able to open all our beaches in the last 2 years. 23 out of 23 were open and safe for swimming. It's owing to this working arrangement with the Umgen. Last year alone, the visitors to the city, domestic visitors, increased to 2.8 million. Visitors between January and May, with a direct spend in the economy of about 4.8 billion rand. And we also received 136,000 visitors. And this festive season, the one that has just passed, the numbers grew from 950,000 visitors to 1.2 million. So we are really working with them. And on the disaster and the responses, I mean, as you know, the city has been visited by a series of disasters, I mean, from 2017. But I must say, even though they assist us in unlocking investment from national government, but we have not received an investment or a budget that is commensurate to the amount that is needed to fix the damage as a result of disaster. Was it last year how much we requested from national, and they gave us 1.5 billion rand? We requested over 3 billion rand, and they gave us about 1.6 billion rand. So a lot of it had to be funded from our own resources. It means that we have to reprioritize our budget and delay some of the projects in order to fund the infrastructure that was impacted upon by the disaster. I'm saying I think it's working very well in my view. I've seen results, but the team can then elaborate on the points. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Tagmo.
No, proceed, sorry.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. This eThekwini Presidential Working Group has worked wonders. In actual fact, we feel like we can't wake up from this dream. It sounds like a dream. So what they've done is they've been able to bring on board all stakeholders, which previously it was very difficult to bring them on board, no matter how hard we try, through a number of reasons. But business, civil society, they are also participating directly in the Metro programs. And some are participating by also directing money to the city. Those vehicles to police the beach came out of the tourism work stream as a result of it being facilitated under the Presidential eThekwini Working Group. National and provincial government departments are also participating. Some of them are co-chairing the work stream. Like the work stream of tourism, for example, it is being chaired by the DG Tourism, but also his counterpart in the city. So there's co-generation of ideas and co-funding of those particular programs. This improvement that they've brought about has also led to the commitment during the last presidential investment conference of 69 billion rand commitments, and some of them are already on the ground, worth of investment down there. It has now become very easy, Honorable Tagmo, to access the executives in state-owned enterprises and national government departments, whereas previously, as a local government accounting officer, it was extremely difficult to do that. They facilitate those meetings, they ensure that there are results coming from those ones. But also, more importantly, what now we still need to do is to strengthen a follow-up. There are so many programs. But what we need to do, what still needs to be done, is to ensure that consistently there is a follow-up to ensure that some of them happen on time, as opposed to them mostly remaining in the pipeline. But those that have been operationalized are yielding positive results. Thank you.
Thanks, Chair. Just a follow-up. So the Mayor indicated that an example of additional support still requested would be the amount in regard to the disaster relief that you asked for 3, you got 1.6. Could I just try and ask, in terms of from the side of the city, the specific financial needs? I mean, the colleague raised, for instance, the leaks problem. And it seems that this is an issue in many, many municipalities where you need a fundamental rehabilitation of infrastructure to deal with leaks. What I'm trying to get to is, if you had to, are you able to quantify, besides your own revenue, besides your equitable share and all of that, the additional amounts that have been requested from the province or other national government departments that would help eThekwini? Have you got that amount listed? And I hear the mayor indicating that this is kind of almost a special kind of a DDM. It's not quite that you've got the presidency directly involved, and that helps, and it's encouraging to hear that parastatals are now responding. But, you know, sometimes the issue of the actual financial shortfalls that you are facing, especially, is it simply just the 1.5 billion, or is there other amounts that have been requested?
Sorry, let me request the city manager to deal with it. It's quite a lot, but they will just give you the figures if they've got them with them. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. Yes, we do have the figures, and when we submit a business plan, we always specify which areas need to be funded, how much does the city have, what is the shortfall, to answer the question in simple terms. But Ethnic, I'm not sure if you want to add, do you have those specific numbers quickly for Honorable Dagmo?
Okay, thank you. These numbers, was the CFO earlier spoke about the reform program. This is where it's within that program that we've submitted some numbers. I might not have them accurate, but it's in the order of about 3 billion over the period. But this is a 6-year program in the operating budget. But I could be a couple of numbers out, and I think about 5 billion or so, or maybe a little bit more on the capital side. But there are numbers there. I might not be accurate. I don't have it in front of me right now. But yes.
That's fine. I think getting towards the end, Chair, I've counted that I'm on 12 minutes. I don't know what your, but I'm not sure if I missed it in the detail of the presentation, but it has been raised by colleagues, and it's in the Auditor General's report, and I'm not detracting from a sense that I also support the view that there is a stabilization in the municipality and improvements. But I think the real issue appears to be, and some of them are legacy, the issue of consequence management remains slow and incomplete. I just wanted to ask, do you have a list of specific disciplinary or criminal actions, that have been taken against officials responsible for these transgressions? I mean, can you provide evidence of the outcomes? Like, there have been so many disciplinary hearings, this person was warned, final warning, this person was. I mean, is there a record of that for the year under discussion? Is it in the document that I might haven't seen yet, or can you provide that to the committee? So actual specific disciplinary or criminal cases that have been laid against any officials of the municipality responsible, and is there actually evidence of what are the outcomes? Say if this case is still ongoing, that case is completed. Because I think I just want to stress that I really would like the municipality officials to accept the view that I think citizens generally would support improvements which are being made, but what frustrates a lot of our people is when they see things that are done. Like, there was this whole story about eThekwini, that feeding scheme, and maybe someone would just like to mention what happened about that, where apparently there was complete overcharging. You know, those are the kind of things which create disillusionment in the integrity of government. So I think it would help if we actually had a breakdown of the disciplinary steps and criminal charges you may have laid.
Yes, Chair, thank you very much. Consequence management sits close to my heart. because unless we have we apply disciplinary measures at work, we will not get the results that we need. But the city manager has got some information with you. I'm sure he can share it with you. Over to you, city manager.
Thank you very much, Honorable Etakmo. Yes, we have that detail per person, per progress per case, and even in cases where we, if you look at page 73, for example, Honorable members, we are highlighting the people that we have suspended as a result of them having, as part of consequence management. I do know that we were responding to something here, which is the question that was raised by the members of the committee, but it also helps to reflect that that is part of the consequence management process. I have also another one here that reflects that all this information we can share with the honorable member is very detailed. It's also reflecting how long has a particular case taken. We guard against all these cases of people being suspended indefinitely. We guard against these cases going beyond 6 months. All that information will be available to Honorable Dagmo. Thank you.
Thanks, Chair. I'm going to pass on from there. Thanks.
No, thank you so much. So before I go to Honorable Skosan, I just want to, Honorable City Manager and CFO, can you just kill your mic? No problem. Thank you very much. Okay, so remember the salary issue that Honorable Isak dealt with. So both of you are correct, believe it or not. So, but we can deal with it later. Let me just say, because it gives you time to just pull out the data. So the base salary remained the same. Other allowances grew. Right, so we can talk about the other allowances later on. Thank you very much. Honorable Skosan.
Yeah, no, thank you very much, Honorable Chair. And good afternoon to all honorable members from SCOPA and from the Portfolio Committee on COCTA. The eThekwini team is led by the Honorable Executive Mayor, our support team, the team from the HSA, and other stakeholders present. No, we really appreciate this opportunity to have a conversation with you based on the reasons that the chair outlined at the beginning of this particular meeting. Just few questions from my side. On the issue of ineligible beneficiaries of the EPWP that the CFO spoke about earlier. I think CFO, you spoke about the fact that there are some beneficiaries who were also benefiting from other provincial government departments programs. So apart from them, are you not having any ghost beneficiaries? And maybe deceased people who were also benefiting from the EPWP, apart from the people who are there working, but they are also maybe getting some, maybe they are receiving SASA or UIF or other benefits from other government departments. Were you not having ghosts who are benefiting, and were you not having deceased people who are also said to be a part of the EPWP employment and therefore benefiting?
Maybe before CFO responds, I wish to highlight the fact that this is one of the material irregularities that have been identified by Auditor General, and we have been engaging with them on it. Part of what they were querying was the lack of improvement in the internal control to ensure that we prevent ghost emerging, as it happened in the past. And they made some 6 recommendations on that. We have responded to them in greater detail about what is it that we have done to prevent the recurrence. But if CFO wants to add anything, over to you, CFO.
No, thank you very much. Yes, we did have those challenges, but the reason why I emphasize on the employees with the other organs of state is because that's where we are challenged in terms of taking the matters forward. The ghost employees, where they were identified, there is a process of recovering from the legal. So that is not a challenge. We are implementing a consequence management. Thank you.
Can I just make a quick point on this issue? And I don't know how quick DPSA is DPSA, Department of Administration, in removing people from PESAL. Some years back, there were people who were engaged in the ambassadors program in the office of the premier. Just youth, young people were on that ambassador program. And some few years later, she calls me, I think 2 of them, different occasions, that, hey, each time when I look for employment, it pops up that I have a personal number. And so it pops up that I have a personal number. And I just could not understand how that happens. And sometimes it could be that sometimes you go on this, you get registered on government system, but when you leave, your name remains behind, and this thing follows you all the way. I thought I'd just make that point in passing. That look, because in this case we're not dealing with people who are in high positions. We're just dealing with extended public works program, people who move from this program and that program and that program and that program. You get captured here, you leave, but your name still remains on the previous system. I thought I should just make that point. Thank you.
Yeah, just a follow-up then on that. What are you doing currently to strengthen your system to make sure that in future you don't have the same challenge?
CFO?
No, thank you. So as far as the EWP is concerned, with respect to the historical matters, as I've said, we are recovering. We've opened, the matters were investigated by CIU or CID. We've opened cases with subs because in some cases there are criminal elements. However, with respect to the current EPWP workers, we are doing a verification on a monthly basis. There are registers that are signed to confirm that, attendance registers to confirm that people are actually working. And there are reconciliations as well that are being performed between finance and HR to ensure that we pay people that are actually working, reconciling back to the attendance register. So those are the controls that are currently in place. But the historical issues, Chair, we acknowledge they were there, and we're hoping they will not come back with the controls that we've introduced. Thank you.
No, thank you very much. Now, on a different matter now, how do you reconcile the fact that you had a surplus whilst at the same time you are facing massive water and electricity loss and poor infrastructure and unreliable billing challenges? How do you reconcile the two?
I must say, I missed the question. What is the surplus? Oh, surplus. Sorry, Honorable Member, I didn't get it. CFO, I'm sure you can handle that. Over to you. Thank you.
What is important, I think, as you are aware, National Treasury, they've got norms that we are all expected to adhere to. So if you look at our financial statements, the cash on hand is about 5.5 billion. And that cash on hand, we are between 30 to 45 days. And the expectation is that your cash should not be lower than 30 days. So we are we're between 30 and 45 days. So there is a need for us to maintain a cash level at that level. So we appreciate that there are these challenges in terms of infrastructure. However, when we invest, we must also take into account that there is tomorrow and there is next month. We must still be financially sustainable. So we always trying to strike a balance between investment and also holding cash so that we can continue with our operations. So surplus is there. If you're looking at the surplus from the income statement or statement of financial performance, not all of it is fully funded. I think what is important is the cash in the bank, which is about 5.5 billion. So we have to use that cash wisely to ensure that we are able to sustain ourselves. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Now coming to the issue of the implementation of the audit action plan. I think the AGSA is flagging the fact that there's a slow implementation of the audit action plan on your part. And I think you also did indicate that only 37% of audit findings have been resolved, and then with 63% still in progress. Why are you so slow in resolving these particular matters? I see that you have been on an unqualified audit opinion, at least for the last 3 years, 3 consecutive years. I think we are noting that there are improvements in terms of the findings. For instance, in 2022-23, we had 25 findings, and then in 2023-24, were reduced to 20, and 2024-25, they were reduced to 13. But now, my concern is the fact that you are very slow in terms of the implementing the audit action plan. We should assist you to quickly move to a clean audit. Why are you moving so slowly in that regard?
Thank you, Asefo.
Thank you. So if you look at 24-25, the action plan that we had implemented during that year was for 23-24. But I must indicate that there were challenges in terms of concluding that one timeously. I think it was concluded around March 2025. As you know, the report from the Auditor General is normally out around November, December. So from then we started working on it. But what we've done in order to deal with that matter, to ensure that we are not accused of implementing these actions slowly, we concluded the action plan arising from the 24-25 audit in December as management. And the focus was then, come January, we must then focus on implementation, because if we delay it later than that, 3 months is not adequate for us to implement all the actions. So with that, we're hoping that we will be able to improve. But as indicated by our mayor before, there is now more oversight in terms of these action plans, unlike in the past, where they were monitored only at executive management level. There is now more accountability that is expected from us. Thank you very much.
Can I just add one more point, Honorable Novap? His Worship the Mayor has been so forthright in saying that we must be able to deal with this thing and move quickly to a clean audit situation. So he has emphasized that my performance, the issue of dealing with Auditor General issues are given a higher weighting, which has translated down to the executive directors and the directors to ensure that people spend more time focusing on dealing with this particular challenge. So we hope that we will improve this one over time. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thanks. My last question to the executive mayor and or to the chair of the MPEC. With regards to the writing off of the 6.43 billion rands of irregular expenditure, is the council satisfied that all investigations were done to the satisfaction of the council that this 6.43 billion rand can be written off? Is the council really happy and satisfied that all the necessary investigation were done in this particular regard? Thanks.
Chair, thank you very much for the question. We assist with the issues as you mentioned them, honourable member, that we have agreed that an increased capacity must be provided to our CIID, Cities Integrity and Investigation Department. Department, or you, yeah, department, yeah. And because it's inundated with the issues for investigation. We have since the city manager as well as the CFO have just in the last few weeks they reported to me that they've added more capacity to the team so that they can be able to delve into matters of investigation into UIFWE matters. Some of them dating back many years back. And it was because of the issue of capacity, as it were. And but I'm sure in the next few months we'll be able to report progress on that front. And just in the last ESCO, not this ESCO, that other ESCO, was it? I think it was in the last finance committee meeting, which I chair as the mayor. I invited the head of this CIID unit to come and present progress. I'm not happy with progress that's been made so far, but there's promise that the situation is going to pick up. With the portfolio committees and ESCO taking keen interest in following up on the implementation on the audit action plans, as well as attending to matters of UIFE, I think we'll get somewhere. I thought I should just make that point. Maybe the chair of MPEC may want to add one or two things. Thank you very much, Chair.
No, thanks, Bob Mayor, and greetings to the chairpersons, both the chairpersons of COCTA and also SCOPA. And also greetings to all the members of SCOPA and also COCTA, and also greetings to our officials. I agree with the mayor. When it comes to the UIFW, as an MPEC committee, there are our duty as an MPEC is to make sure that we write off or we recover. But before we take a decision, we satisfy ourselves through investigation. There are two safety nets, which is our financial misconduct and also our CIU, who are investigating on our behalf to make sure that before we take that decision, we take an informed decision that whenever we take a decision of writing off, it's a correct decision. So we make sure that there's a value for money. We don't just take a decision to write off. We satisfy ourselves whether there was a value for money or not. At times, we refer other issues. If we are not satisfied, we will refer those issues back to our CIU to investigate further before we can take a decision. So I agree there is an improvement when it comes to our UFW. But there are areas where there are still gaps, but through our internal controls, we're improving on those gaps. Thanks.
One more, Honorable Skosan. Unless you are done.
No, I'm done.
Thank you, Honorable Skosan. I will richly reward you one day with additional time. Thank you. Honorable Maduna.
I will also not take the entire time, Chair, so that next time I'm rewarded also.
May I warn our visitors not to believe that statement?
No, thanks, Chair. Morning to you, Chair, and the Chair of COGTA, Kabazela. Honorable members, you worship the Mayor of eThekwini with your city manager and your management. No, thank you as well. One must start by appreciating the presentation received. It's quite detailed if you read it, especially with the information that we would have received as an addition to it. So I think my first question, Mayor, briefly would be around, given that we are always interested, especially where young people seem to be the main beneficiaries on the issue of the metropolis. I see that you have detailed it very well in your presentation in terms of how the process happens. But I think my question around it would be, and also acknowledging that, you know, when you're just looking for people that are less than 1,000, and you receive more than 120 applications, that tells you that we really have a problem of unemployment in South Africa. And I think as leaders, we really need to come up with a solution to that. It's really a sad situation. Now, I just want to check in the processes that are outlined, for instance, from when you are doing the screening of the application to the next process, to the physical assessment, to when they proceed to interview. I just want to check the people who do these processes are not the same people, right?
Let me let that answered by the city manager. I'm sure we'll ask the chief of the police, who's also present at this meeting, to deal with it. Thanks.
Thank you very much, honorable member. I rather give the acting corporate services executive director to respond to that one. Thank you.
No, thank you. Let me start by giving the process when we interviewing, we've got different steps to ensure that the process is done fairly. The people who are responsible for the physical assessments, take for instance for Metropolis, is another team. The team that does the interviews is another team. The team that does reference checks is from HR as well. And then the approval, again, is done by the line management, the HR department. There are about 3 people who are responsible for the approval. And then the final signatory comes from the city manager to ensure the process is fair. And we have checked and did all the auditing that is required. Thanks.
No, this is important because, you know, our people tend to believe that when we employ these things, we just wake up and appoint. There's just one person that says, come, I'm putting you traffic. So it's very important that we ask and then you clarify us that there are different steps and that they are done by different people. Now, I want to check, after you would have then approved the 512, which would have ended up being 486, due to others obviously not making it through the disqualification, then what is usually the process to ensure that you fill that 26? I mean, you had 120 applications. 20,000 applications. So that's why I think it's important that I must ask, or you just leave it like that and then you move on.
You can respond, Reggie.
No, thanks. We had 512 that were recommended. The number came down to 486. It means 26 people were disqualified. There were reasons why they were disqualified. Some is because of the verification as well, because they have to look at whether they have any criminal records. Others, we have to look at their qualifications that they have claimed and so forth. So unfortunately, not much you could do for someone whom has been disqualified through the process, unfortunately. And we're coming from 120,000 people who would have applied in the beginning.
Okay, no, I'm asking that the 26 is disqualified. You don't replace it, go to the same process and pull another 26. I mean, that's what I'm asking. I'm not sure if I'm making sense.
Respond, Rich. I think the question, or maybe can we give the Metropolis chief? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Greetings, Chair, and the leadership and all honorable members and the colleagues. Yes, I understand the question, honorable member. However, at that time when we make that decision to say we've got 488 and you've got problems with 26, we make a decision to say we can't have 26 holding the bus because we are running on the timelines of the financial year and all of that. These appointments need to be made at a particular timeline. So if we realize that now we've got this chunk of 488, which is clear, and only problematic 26. If we rerun the process, the whole bus may be held back. So we make a decision to say, let these ones go. We will then carry over the remaining post for the next advert.
No, I think that answers me. No, thanks. I think that is important for us to ask, you know, especially because it touches us as young people. I think in follow-up on a different matter, in follow-up on the fruitless and wasteful expenditure, I think it was Honorable Busy. I'm not sure who would have asked. I want to check, out of all the cases, especially in your presentation, that you would have outlined, whereby, especially I see that you had a challenge of a failure to pay invoices within 30 days. Well, I know you have a bill back of invoices, but you did have some challenges, and some to us it would appear as amounts that would not be acceptable. Now I want to check, especially on this one. Let's just make an example with number one. You are saying that you had finalized it, you suspended someone for 10 days, the other one got a warning and so on. But did you end up recovering the money? That's what I want to check.
Sevo?
Yeah, on that one, I think we'll have to come back with the details because the matter is recent as to whether that money has been recovered.
Okay, no, thanks, CFO. I'm asking that I believe that would also know that most times when an interest occurred because someone kept an invoice in their desk, it usually ends up in them paying the interest. But I don't know how you deal with your matters, especially because it says that you have finalized it. So that's why I thought it's important that I must ask. On the issue of CM, on the issue of your bid committees, I want to check how many bid evaluation committees do you have? I would assume, given the size of the municipality, that it's not one.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm going to request the CFO to respond.
No, thank you very much. The bid evaluation, we've got two committees. There is one that deals with trading services. Trading services meaning water, sanitation, electricity, and solid waste. And then there is another one that deals with all the other departments that are under rates and general. And also we do have a dedicated bid specification which is feeding into the trading services. So there is two bid specification and two BECs.
And then BACs is one.
BAC is one, yeah.
Oh, okay. No, I wanted to check that. On the issue of local content as well, where I would have wanted clarity. I see that it was, I think it was 2017. But now I want to check these contracts, they were for how many years?
CFO will respond.
The contract were initially for 3 years, but in some cases where project could not conclude, they were then extended because we could not terminate. If we had terminated, we would have incurred additional costs, for example, re-establishment cost. But as I've said, the last one from electricity is expiring, which is a rate-based contract, is expiring in January, January next year.
So I would assume these are contracts that would have been appointed after 2017, but before 2022, because then you would have another PPR in 2022, right?
Okay, so remember in 2022 we had new regulations after the Constitutional Court. So these are the contracts that were advertised before the new regulations. So they might have been advertised in October 2022, and the tender might have been concluded in, as I've said, it's about 6 to 9 months, might have been concluded in 2023, May, June, somewhere there, for a period of 3 years.
Okay, because I wanted to just make sense of it. How come you still have some that are going on up until next year? So because I wanted to do the calculations in my head, so that's why I was asking that. And then on the plumbers issue. I must just say that, part of what we always say we want to achieve is building the capacity, our institutions to have capacity and so on and so on. And I understand that this would have been a council decision. Maybe to the mayor, I would love to check, is this still the position that you intend in the long run to keep outsourcing plumbers?
Let me ask the team, if you don't mind, to deal with it. But there's a move to insource plumbers, but they'll tell you the extent to which we have gone on that aspect. Tim?
Thank you very much. I'm going to request Ubab Nongalo to respond directly. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I think the answer is sometimes not straightforward, but the plan and the strategy is to balance the two, the insourcing to the outsourcing. You'll always have a certain amount of outsourcing, because if you don't do that, you might just end up with excess internal capacity. So we'll build up sufficient internal capacity for our normal demand that we have in terms of plumbing capacity. So it's going to be a bit of a hybrid, but indeed, going forward, there is going to be a reduction in terms of the extent of outsourcing that we have now. So we are going to reduce. We will use some of the budgets that we currently use for outsourcing to appoint our own internal plumbers. We found that there's improvements that come with insourcing in terms of the workmanship, the quality of the work. There are other advantages in people being more accountable. So we will have more insourcing than outsourcing. Thank you.
Maybe just to say that it's a question of building our own internal capability and augment it as and when that becomes necessary. Thanks. With the people from the private sector. Thanks.
So I would make an assumption that this is the current council position on the matter. We don't want issues when it comes back in the next year. HE tells us that you appointed plumbers while the council did not approve it. So that's why I'm asking.
Yes, it's our position. As to whether that requires amendment to policy, it's a matter, because like they are saying, there was an existing policy. It's a matter to look at. But that's the best way of moving forward. Build your own internal capability. Even in the presence of the policy, nothing stops us from building our own internal capability and then go out into the market as and when it's necessary to augment the internal capability. Thank you.
Thanks. So the contracts, you are saying that it was started in 2011. Were they the same contracts throughout until now? I'm just trying to get that clarification, or you were appointing from time to time. I'm just want to get that clarification.
Bamswell?
Yeah, the panel started around 2012. So what the arrangement that we had was that every year we would open up an opportunity to add more people. This was around January. And these are small contractors, right? So it's a 1 man, 1 plumber, and 2 assistants. So around January would be an opportunity for new people to come in, but also if you're working for one company, for you to move, sometimes you would move from this company to that company. So there will be a little bit of reshuffling that will happen once a year in January. But the last intake was in 2017. Yeah, so since we actually put a stop in 2017. Thank you.
Oh, but you continue using the panel from 2017 and until as like now?
We have more than 1,000 companies or plumbers in that panel. We've continued to use the same panel. As I said earlier, we just add to it every year.
Last one, Honorable Matun.
No, thanks, Chair. I think I understand why it would be like that, because I think it would have been unfair to those who became plumbers after 2017. After you have closed the panel, now they can't enter in the panel while you are, it's more like a ring fence, some sort of a thing, and I don't think it was correct. No, Chair, I think for now, given that we are still going to get last question, Chair, because I still do have time. I want to check.
Let the record indicate that I said so. Do you remember?
Last question, Chair. I just want to get clarity, the Mayor, on the issue of the sexual harassment. I want to check the advocate that you would have appointed, what would have been the process that you would have applied to come up with the advocate? And in terms of the determination of the rates, the service and the payments thereof?
Yes, thank you very much. It's obviously, whilst the process of appointing an investigator rests with the mayor in the case of the municipal manager, but I must still follow the SCM process. It means that you must then rely on the mechanism inside to achieve that. I will ask the head of legal if you need more details to furnish you with more information on it. Thank you, Chair. The head of legal is here. I'm not too sure if you want that information now. Yes.
If time permits, he can just briefly, because I wanted him. I did see it in the slide, but there are some areas I did not understand. That's why I'm asking it like this. So
just
I
on
wanted
the process only?
Yes, I wanted him to talk to it, but I did see it.
Thank you.
But I just wanted him to talk to it. Maybe it will close the gaps that I would.
Just on the process, Chair.
Thanks.
Let me add Malusi Mhlongo, head legal.
Thank you, Mayor. Good day, Chair and honourable members. The breakdown of IFI note of the investigator, it's the normal rates that advocate at his level charges, which is regulated by the LPC and the bar that he belongs to. And secondly, it would be the disbursements that he would have incurred. Because he was from Joburg, he would have travelled to Durban. He hired the premises at which he conducted the investigations, and also his accommodation. So it was broken down in his fee note and total to the amount that we disclosed.
No, we can follow up later, Honorable Matun. Thank you. Honorable Gupek.
Thank you, Chair. Ngibingelele kuwena Chair, ngibingelele ku Cwabe Khabazela, I think usaphumile. Ngibingelele nakwithimba lika Mayor. I think, Chair, first and foremost, before I start asking any questions, I would like to put it to the team from eThekwini, ukuthi eThekwini is not doing well. I know a lot of great stories have been told regarding a lot of issues that where the municipality has done well. Kukhona nokuyiphunga ngeshoba kancane, but thina esiqhamuka eThekwini siyazi ukuthi akukuhle kakhulu. There's an article that was in one of the local newspapers, the Bria Mail, and the headline was "Enraged Unpaid Contractors Accuse the City of Violating the Truth." I'll get into that. I'm just highlighting the issue. There's a lot of issues akhona eThekwini, and some people are frustrated beyond with uMasipala waseThekwini. The AG also confirmed that this issue with the water losses that my comrade, my colleague, sorry, on the other side was speaking about, it's that issue with the water losses at 58.7%, Mayor, it's absolutely unacceptable. I understand the issues around it with the stormwater damages and with the infrastructure that has been aging. I would have imagined that we've got eThekwini engineers and people who would be able to plan for those, for the replacement, for instance, of the aging water pipes. So if we sit here and we're saying, no, we've only just started now to plan for the aging infrastructure, which we're going to replace it, the question then stands, bekwenziwani all along? Obani laba ba incompetent bekufuneke bepanishelwe ukuthi they didn't know ukuthi the infrastructure was aging. Because if you've got professionals working for the municipality, you can't come now and tell us ngoba izinto seyimoshakele ukuthi it's only now that we are replacing aging infrastructure for water. It's only now that we're replacing aging infrastructure for sewer. eThekwini kubhede ngisho imigwaqo mawuhamba ko Pine Town. And konke lokho, we tend to shy away from it and we don't speak about it, and we only masila sifuna ukukhuluma about konke lokho kuhle sikwenzile. Ngizocela ukuthi mhlawumbe uma likhona ithuba sike siyibuke leyo nto if isikhathi zobe sivuma. Back to that article, contractors accuse eThekwini municipality of unpaid invoices and a flawed digital invoicing system despite the city's assurances. A week after the leadership of eThekwini municipality committed to ongoing payments due to unpaid contractors, some invoices as old as 5 months emerged in yesterday's, this was the 7th of May's media briefing, that the city's message was not accurate. The briefing convened by the wastewater task team unpacked their frustrations regarding unpaid invoices dating as far back as November 2025. Now, uma kunaleyo nto leyo kunama issues afana nalawo, my first question there would be, and I'm not sure if this is supposed to go to the MM or the CFO. The umbuzo nje oqala was this digital system piloted before it was implemented, or was it just imposed on everyone?
Maybe, thank you very much, Chair. Maybe let me just deal with the first comments he made. And let me start with the road infrastructure that he says is bad. I know the road they're talking about is M19, and it's not our road. It's not a city road. And there's also a Tumsani Makai road. It's also not our road. And when our roads, these roads are okay.
I've got a place in Pine Town. Imgwaqo Pine Town iyabheda, man. And I believe lo mgwaqo ehamba ngaphakathi Pine Town imgwaqo yaMasipala. It's not just to M19.
Yeah, that is fine. We are both from Pine Town. So we'll settle that matter in Pine Town. So we're willing to exchange numbers.
Ngishilo ukuthi nizokhuluma ezomndeni.
Hayi kuvele ezomndeni ke meya kulungile.
We'll exchange numbers so that he takes me to the roads. Because when the road is not good, it must be fixed. There must be no two-way about it. You take me to the road, you say, this is the road, I will tell you tomorrow that it is fixed. So there must be no two-way about it, because we really have a program to fix our road infrastructure. Thank you very much. And on the non-revenue water, you see, I think we've been trying to explain this thing a number of times, that it's not like it's water that goes into the ground, Chair. I accept that it's water that we are not receiving revenue on. And I explained earlier on, maybe before you walked in, that we are 60% rural, and we supply water to our rural communities. Maybe what is lacking is to account for water that we supply to rural area A, rural area B, and rural area B, so that we can account at the end of the day that so much water we supply to this number of X number of rural areas. We also have a number of informal settlements. I mean, in the entire country, there are about 4,000 informal settlements. 607 of those are just in the city alone. Now, they are saying water is life. And sanitation is dignity. When people are there, they demand water. If you don't give them water, they're going to ban your streets, your libraries, and your public facilities. So you must supply them, put state pipes and all of that. And again, it's water that you don't get any revenue on. And some water is water that gets taken out. But a huge chunk of it is that which we supply to the informal settlements as well as to the rural areas. I accept there's some that goes into the ground. Now, with this program on metering, metering the bulk centers, it will assist us to be able to account for all the water that we actually lose, as I said. Yes, the pipe replacement program is another program that we are engaged in so as to deal with the aging infrastructure, because it then starts to deal with water that goes into the ground. I thought I should just make that comment before I let the team talk
On
to
that note, Mayor, besicela leo pipe replacing program mhlawumbe ithi ukukhuphula amasuku isikancane, because kuya ngokuya kuyamoshakala kakhulu kunakuqala.
No, sizokhombisa yona and sisho ukuthi kukuphi lama improvement esiwenzayo futhi khona ngoba we review it as we implement it. The team will then deal with the other questions. Thank you very much.
Honorable Khatid Mzilankat, let me speak about that article on the Berea Mail. That article probably, I don't want to interfere with how they do their journalism, but they interviewed the disgruntled contractors. That sounds like their views, which is one-sided. Let me briefly say that this online invoice system is required in terms of M-score. Auditor General expects us, National Treasury expects us to do it, so that we deal with the problems that AG always identifies. Payment of invoices where work has not been done, where there's no proof that work has been done, which we picked up that has always been a problem. What this online invoice system requires is that people must put pictures before and after they've done the work, so that people don't go out and put a chevron tape and claim. It eliminates that. Secondly, I received a direct message from the head of SARS in KZN saying that we truly appreciate you implementing this particular system because it helps us to be able to collect more directly, because we know right from the beginning who is being paid. So it solves a lot of problems. It helps our communities once they complain about poor service delivery. It helps to improve the delivery capabilities of these contractors. Now, so when we implemented it, we started with a training program. Right from the beginning, When we started in November thinking that we were going to roll it out, there was a huge outcry. Then we said, fine, we will shift it to the 1st of April. All the teething problems that were emerging there, like the scanners and all those problems, we allowed people to enhance their capacity before we do a proper rollout on the 1st of April. Come the 1st of April, we had the fracas that was on the media with them damaging our infrastructure and breaking down a city's equipment, simply because there was a big pushover. The big pushover, in most cases, you will find that it's these people whose invoices are failing the basics to reflect on the work that they've done. When we see that they've claimed for the things that they were not supposed to have claimed for, they haven't built capacity. Now, the 5 months invoice that has not been attended to is not about the failure of the system. It's about contractors, particularly at sanitation, I must say, that have not really taken time to ensure that they comply with the requirement. Now, as a caring government, we can't stop a program that is helpful just because other people are pushing back. I'm not sure if the CFO wants to add, but let me address the issue of the engineers that didn't know we have infrastructure challenges. Our engineers, they know that. They've always known it if they were employed in the post in 2004. However, you can plan as much as you want. But if you are hit by floods 5 years in succession, all the work that you had done is washed away all the time. You shift your budget, you focus on recovery, because you are not getting adequate money to be able to deal with the recovery from floods. But also another problem is that you are facing all the other issues as in Kantela. Uthola ukuthi uthi uyikhandile i-substation la, bafika abantu bayistriphe yonke, the whole 34 million rands goes down as a result of these particular problems that we are dealing with. So our engineers do know, but asinazi inyawo eziyimali ukuqinisekisa ukuthi sikwenza konke ngoba sithi silungisa ngala sibe si-recover ngapha. That is the problem. CFO, do you want to add anything?
Okay, ngiyabonga CM. Now, on that note, CM, with that digital system, I understand, and ngiyakuzwa uma uthi the digital system is approved by AG and it's good, let accountability and everything else. Now, it can't just be good for the city. It needs to be good for your contractors as well, because you need to be taking care of your own contractors. So the reason I was asking Ndebe Ngibuza is, were your contractors adequately trained in? That was one. I'll just carry on to the next two questions as well. Uguti, was it tested before, or was it adequately tested before? Maybe should be the question, because maybe you did test it, but was it adequately tested? Nama contractors were they trained properly on the system? And then staff sona ke lesike saka masipala sona si trainiwe yini adequately ukuthi si train laba bantu, and a very mina, for instance, iPhone angiyithanda sisikahle yangihlula because I find it not user friendly. I-system yenu yona, is it user friendly yini? And because ama contractors asekhale kakhulu, and as you would know, kunomsindo all over kubantu abasebenza nani regarding that.
Bengicela ukudlulisela ku CFO mhlambe uyobe eseya eda nokuthi umsindo kona siziqale uMay sowehlile, as a result abanye abantu sebeze babuyela kuthina bayancoma ukuthi i-system baya embrace, it's working well. But just answer the honorable member, CFO. Thank you.
Thank you. On the testing, yes, there was a testing that was done, not once, but 2 times, because the initial test, there were issues that were picked up, and thereafter we went back and we corrected those issues. Another test was done, and then it was concluded, then we can then be able to go ahead. With respect to training, yes, training was rolled out, and I know at some stage, I think it was in February, if not beginning of March, some of the contractors came to disrupt a training session. So we then decided to do them online instead of continuing with physical, because we had to get Metropolis to support the team. So there was a pushback even before we went live 1st April. But what we've done in order to ensure that we assist the small contractors, we've capacitated all our Sizakala centers so that those small contractors that are not used to systems, they can be able to go there and upload their invoices. And then from there, we are able to then pay. But as indicated, we do need to ensure that we eliminate the issues that were raised by the Auditor General and at the same time comply with the MSCOA regulations as indicated by National Treasury. Thank you very much.
Okay, yeah, on that note, before I ask the last question, Sefo, there's an allegation that there was an internal audit report which recommended against the implementation of that online system. But naqhubeka nayo. So I think the last question would be eThekwini phase 1 housing project that was contracted to deliver 2,500 RDP houses. The contract started at 119 million, revised to 265 million, then a further 299 million. After 11 years, only 68% of the contract is complete, with 162 million rand spent. Mhlawumbe umbuzo lapho uthi mhlawumbe ngicela nisikhanyisele lapho CM ukuthi kwenzakalani, and I'm asking this specifically because uma kuthiwa le contract iqale at 119 million for 2,500 RDP houses, angikholwa ukuthi ukhona umuntu wayengakwazi ukukhanda indlu ye-RDP eyiqede mawuthatha 119 million udivide ngo-2,500 angiboni ukuthi u-50,000 loyo uya-awardwa kanjani leyo contract leyo, because I think ikhona iquantum eshoyo ukuthi uma uyokwakha indlu ye-RDP, the quantum for each unit iyimali engaka, which should cover ama-cost, it should cover i-profit ya contract. Now umizo awardwa at 119 million for 2,500 RDP houses, kwakwenze njani lapho? Who failed lapho? Was it umasipala or bekwenzakalani? Because isizireviswa nje isibuyela ku 299 million. Kwakufanele, because that was a mistake. Now I think the question there is i-mistake yakhona isuka kuphi, ihlala kubani? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Katide, Director of Human Settlements. Can you please assist with this one? Thank you.
Chair, thank you. Honorable Kupega, when the project of eThekwini, the 2,500 sites, you had to do services. Now, when you start with services, obviously avoiding, you cannot build houses without services. Now, during the time of appointment, the inclusion of the top structure, applicable subsidy at the time, is what would have been included in the contract. Now, you would know that subsidy quantum get to be aligned almost yearly. It's just recent rates get to be aligned over 2 years, and that the subsidy quantum of that time and the subsidy quantum of today. So that's what now, when you are now currently building the houses at the time to the size that are service, then that's where the alignment comes in. So if the subsidy at the time in 2023, when you're starting to build the houses, is 185,000, that's when now you have to align that, because you are now building houses that year, because it becomes unfair to the contractor to pay him 110,000, which was of 2021.
So basically, the 119 million was not for the RDP houses; it was for the infrastructure, the water, the sewer, and the roads. Is that the case?
Yes, and I remember you've had planning. You would have the project started from planning. 2,500 is for planning. So the site, and you understand well the topography of eThekwini being steep, we ended up servicing 2,000 sites, because some some of the sites had undevelopable sites. So 2,000 sites were serviced. That's why you are sitting at 68%. You said incorrectly, because we have built houses on sites that could be serviced. Now that's where the money goes. The servicing of this planning, the site servicing, which was done and paid for, and then the houses now following, and at the applicable subsidy quantum, which now makes the alignment.
Okay,
the contract to rise.
isikhathi siyangishaya. Mhlawumbe ngizocela siyibhunge eceleni lenkulumo ngoba khona there's a misalignment there between lento esikhulumayo. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Kubeka, and thank you very much to you, Mayor, and the CM and your colleagues. There is incidentally a COCTA budget vote at 2. The Honorable Dr. Mkhize is part of that process. The Honorable Mdolo, I think you are part of that process. I am. And so I am keen to release us now so that we can attend to that matter. It also gives you an opportunity to also just reflect on the conversation that we've had. We will reconvene here at 6:30 p.m. and then we'll continue with the members and then do more follow-ups on the conversation. But thank you very much for it. Sorry.
Chair.
Yes.
Oh, no. Chair, just when they come back, are they going to finish the presentation and then we ask, or you're going to just continue with us?
No, we'll continue. So the guidance I gave was that the members are free to ask about any part of the presentation, even if it wasn't shown. They can then, when they answer, go to that slide. So for you, you can pick any slide you like and talk to it. Yes. All right. Thank you so much. Shall we meet each other later then? Here. So there is also lunch downstairs, but the colleagues will guide you on where to go. We can't ask you questions and then starve you as well.